Welcome back. This lesson is about titles and how you format them in your paper so that we know what kind of title it is that you're talking about or you're writing about. Now, in MLA, depending on the kind of title it is, such as a poem title, an article title, a book title, a movie title, a game title, it comes with a certain format. So let's talk about what these formats are. um, so to classify each kind of title, there's three classifications that we're going to talk about today. One is called a short work. A short work title is a title that usually can fit into a long work. The other one is called a long work title. A long work title is a title that can usually hold shorter works. And there's an unformatted title. These titles, they just don't get formatted. So let's take a look at this sheet that I just created for you. So here we are. So short work titles get quotations put around them. Long work titles are put in italics, and unformatted titles, just the first letters of the important words get capitalized. So let's start with these short works. So if you're going to put in your paper the title of an article, then you're going to put that title in quote marks. If it's the title of a poem, put it in quote marks. If it's a chapter, sometimes in books, chapters have names to them. So you're going to put that chapter in quote marks. If it's a song, all song titles get put in quotes. Web pages, just the name of that web page, not the whole website, but that web page gets put in quotes. Here where it says entries, this is for like a journal entry or a diary entry. For example, if you're reading the Diary of Anne Frank, she might give a date, and that date is going to be the short work in that book. An episode, you might be trying to quote or reference an episode of a TV series, a podcast, or a vlog. And here we have scenes. This could be a scene from a movie or a scene of a play or an act. Yeah. Put those in quote marks. And all of these things under short works can fit into what we have here in this second column called the long works. Now, anytime you put the title of a long work in your paper, you're going to put that title in italics. Or am I say this way? Which way? So long work titles get put in italics. That's how you format them. So a newspaper holds many articles. So it's a long work. And if you put like the Philadelphia Inquirer or the New York Times, then you're going to put the New York Times in italics. Journals. These can be academic journals or a journal that someone wrote while they were traveling, like a travel journal. Magazines are long works because they hold articles. Books, most of the time have chapters, but just books in general, they are long works. Could be a book of poems, a book of chapters, a novel. A novel title gets put in italics. An album, an album holds songs. So that album title is in italics. Let's see, a website. So CNN.com, that's going to be put in italics. And for news websites, mostly, the web page usually is the name of the article, and the website is the whole thing. Diaries, we talked about that Diary of Anne Frank. If the diary has a title, put it in italics. TV series or a podcast series, because they have episodes, you put that TV series or podcast series title in italics, italicize it. Movie titles are italicized. Terminator 3. When you write it in your paper, italicize it. And plays. If you're writing about a play, italicize it. Italicize the title. Italicize the title. There are more short works like essays, and maybe even notes that you can put in, that you can format if you like. An essay is a short work because it usually, a collection of essays fits into a journal. So when you use quotes and when you use italics, know that that means that these things are published. If these things are not published or copyrighted, then they don't get the format of the quotes or the italics. Which brings us to our third column, the unformatted column. These are published or unpublished works, they just don't get formatted. So for example, anything unpublished doesn't get a format. So if you wrote an essay and you're referring to it in your own paper, then you just put the title of it, because it's not published. Next, we have government documents. So when you write the Constitution of the United States, you're just going to capitalize the T in the C in Constitution, and the United States. Yeah, government documents, the amendments, they don't get italicized or put in quotes. Government documents. And white papers. I don't know if you've heard of white papers or not. A lot of people haven't. They're not really talked about like that a lot. But these can be government documents, but they're usually just some official documentation that explains policy or explains what the experts say about something. Usually these are within organizations, but sometimes they are published, and even though they are published or copyrighted, they don't get put into any formats. It's just capitalize the important words in the title. All right, so here is how you format titles. Anytime you put a title in your paper, format it. If it's a short work, give it quotes. If it's a long work, italicize it. If it's a unpublished government document or white paper, don't format it. Just capitalize the important words in it, in the title. All right, that's our lesson on formatting titles.